project looks at how economic growth can affect women's empowerment. And specifically, we look at how different aspects of economic growth can affect women's empowerment. So we do know that economic growth generally affects labor market outcomes, but a lot less is known about other aspects of economic growth, and in particular things like the social processes and the cultural processes that often accompany economic growth, how they affect women's empowerment, and how that may differ across countries. And to answer those questions, we have 6 projects. And 3 of these projects are directed by staff here at the Urban Institute, and the other 3 projects are directed by our partners from the Global South.
This is built on a genuine partnership between 4 institutions, 3 of which are based in developing countries. We have a partner in West Africa, another in the Horn of Africa, and one in South Asia. Each region has their own sort of unique dynamics of how growth and female empowerment are linked, but I think there are also a lot of commonalities across them. So we feel that having our partners from 3 or 4 different parts of the world actually enables us to do interesting comparative analyses across these 4 regions.
Project 1 is using data from the demographic and health surveys to look at 82 different countries to look at how different aspects of economic growth affect women's empowerment. And in particular, these data are very rich in the social context of women's lives, and also in the different kinds of outcomes. And because this is looking at so many different countries, this project can also kind of set the stage for some of the other projects. So Project 2 is looking at how different aspects of economic growth will affect women's empowerment across different countries, focusing on the South Asia and the Sub-Saharan Africa, using aggregated time series data from the World Bank and from other sources. Project 3 is focusing on 2 countries, Nigeria and Ghana, and specifically looking at how increases in the service sector may affect women's empowerment. So these countries are low middle income countries with natural resource driven economies. And they have similar growth rates, but different employment rates by sector.
The study is important for women because what we've seen historically is that while economic growth is correlated with women's economic empowerment, we really lack a finer understanding of particular gender barriers that may occur through different forms of economic growth. And so what we're really hoping to do is to tease out what some of these barriers may be. And that through the research that we're doing on the ground in so many countries, that we'll be able to develop policy recommendations that are more specifically tailored to a more inclusive form of development that takes into account barriers that may exist for women's participation.
So Project 4 is using a mixed method methodology to look at how aspects of irrigation may affect women's growth. And we're looking in Kenya, Ghana, Malawi, and Morocco. And we hypothesize that kind of different irrigation systems that have been adopted in these different countries may affect women's empowerment differently. Our 5th study is focusing on Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, and in particular urban areas. And we're looking at how the effects of environmental degradation that sometimes accompanies economic growth may affect women's empowerment. Project 6 is 2 case studies looking at mega city in Nigeria and also in Pakistan. And specifically, we're looking at how urban sprawl, again, something that sometimes accompanies economic growth, may affect women's access to urban transportation and may actually expose them to violence, which is another aspect, a negative aspect of empowerment.
I think one of the biggest outcomes from this consortium will be the sharing of information from different researchers from different countries with so many different backgrounds. So when most of the time when we see a consortium like this, we always think in terms of the North, you know, helping out the South. I think this is not going to be the case for our consortium because we're going to have so many experts with so many big backgrounds. It's going to be a learning process not only for them, it's going to be a learning process for us. I believe this project is going to outlive its life of the 2 years that we proposed because the products from this project are going to be distributed to a very wide audience that is identified by not only us, by all of our consortium members. And hopefully in the long term, the findings are going to be incorporated into anything that's in relation to women's economic empowerment policy in these countries and beyond.